Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the round of 8 here at the Vasacast Invitational. Spawning in the bottom left position of our first match of Day 2, we have the Mouse Sports Zerg player, VortiX, who managed to reach the round of 8 with a 2-0 victory over Todd and a 2-0 victory over Select, the Spanish Zerg, who actually will be playing against this man later this week in the northeast position. The Red Terran player from Team Acer, defeating the likes of Nurchio and Ruin Blaster. It is MMA. MMA, a man who affectionately refers to me as Mario, has not only quite the sense of humor, but quite a high level of skill as our Korean Terran player. But as I was saying, these two gentlemen don't just have to fight to the death here. They have a WCS Europe match in just a few short days. So I'm wondering what kind of mind games we'll see. Maybe MMA decides to go 3 command center before barracks. Who knows? Maybe we'll see the most absurd strategies ever. Which tournament do these players value more is another interesting question. This is quite a heavy matchup. Both of these players have already gotten into the money for this tournament. The round of 8 means that each of these players will get at least 100 doll hairs. And the winner of this match, if you move into the top 4, you're guaranteed couple hundred more. I believe it's 2,500 for first place. I believe it's actually updated on the bracket page that I have open. The first place prize is $2,500. Second place is $1,200. Third place $600, and fourth place $300. So whoever wins this best of 3 gets at least $300. All players get 100 at this point, guaranteed. Looking at this game, MMA has opened with the command center first. We have a very normal hatchery first and a spawning pool for VortiX. We have a very standard setup. This map, Frost. For Terran versus Zerg, this is not the position that MMA would want to be in. Cross-spawn Frost is arguably the most difficult position to play in this map for Terran versus Zerg. What it's going to allow is VortiX to basically get solid creep spread around his base. He doesn't have to worry about a fast rush attack. Drops have to go around the edges of the map to catch him. And VortiX already has an idea of maybe where MMA is. He's scouted out with his first Overlord in the bottom right. He knows he's not in that position. And he will see no wall here, which should give away that MMA has indeed spawned in the northeast. Who begins a quick bunker after his barracks completes. And now the factory. So MMA's overall strategy, I don't necessarily see him as the player to go for something like a 2-factory blue flame Hellion push. I kind of expect him to play a standard bio style, but lots of Terran players have been mixing in this bio mech style. Lots of Terran players have also been mixing in just straight up mech versus Zerg, so there's a lot of options here. As for VortiX, Zerg in this matchup plays somewhat the reactionary style. VortiX's units and composition will likely be based off of where MMA chooses to go with his strategy as he begins a 3rd command center. So very greedy opening from MMA. Very standard, though. Lots of Terran players doing this, and VortiX already getting actually a pretty good spread. He knows, well, okay, you don't have anything like Reapers, but map vision looks pretty solid for him. And he's taking 2 gases at his natural expansion. These gas timings from VortiX are actually pretty quick, and he has 2 options with what he can do with this. He can go for 2 evolution chambers, or he can go for a Roach Warren. The Speedlings would be a little bit too late at this point. There are some pretty tough Roach timings you can hit, Roach, Zergling, Baneling attacks, especially to kill greedy Terran players at this phase of the game, and he actually will get Zergling speed, so there's still the potential. But we'll have to see if he gets evolution chambers. That's the number one thing I'm looking for. He does take a 3rd base first, so some players like TLO, as far as the European style of Zergs, oftentimes you'd see them get the evolution chambers before the 3rd base in case you're worried about Reapers, but since there's nothing like that on the field, he can be, safely assured that there will be no level of aggression to stop him from taking that base. So now the evolution chambers start up. And this is about as standard as it could possibly get. MMA moving out with his Hellions now. He's actually not yet scouted his opponent's spawning position, so the Hellions will have to do that job for him. And he's going for double engineering bay before any additional barracks. Many Terran players these days, when they opt for this command center first into a fast third style, like to get the 3 barracks set up before the engineering bays. It's pretty much the only way to be 100% safe against early roach attacks, early Zergling Baneling assaults that hit but right before your production gets kicked in. But the upgrades are dead even between both players, actually 100% step in step with each other. And VortiX is getting his lair together, so this is just a very, very normal matchup. Nothing here is actually unusual at all. MMA is going to take his gas. The Hellions want to deny the creep spread. This is an important phase of the game. He sees, okay, you've got a couple queens. You have 3 queens out spreading creep, as they do poke these queens, almost killing one of these Hellions. But knowing that there's this many queens on the map, he can assume, okay, well, you're playing relatively safe unless that's all of your queens. So MMA, without really seeing any of the tech, knows, okay, you've got evolution chambers, so I don't have to worry as much as maybe I would otherwise for a fast attack. And the Hellions give a poke on these Lings, will pick off one of them, surrounding the weakest one, and then stepping off. These queens are still trying to force the creep spread out here. But like I said, cross spawns on Frost. He's got a bit of a walking distance to go to get to VortiX's base. And this is one of those positions where the creep spread is so important for VortiX to keep it out on the map as much as he can. And look at this. MMA's decided, yep, I'm actually just going to go right to my 3rd base. I'm not worried about you bringing any aggression towards me. I saw the evolution chambers. I see the amount of queens you have, and I see that your 3rd base is already done. VortiX is going to want to drone this base up. He wants to get his economy fully flourishing before he begins to really look at doing any damage, or I guess defending potential damage from MMA, who it looked like he wanted to take a quick 5th gas on his 3rd base. Not the case. Overlord comes in and confirms this, as there is also a bunker being built. So very standard so far. Neither player's really made any big mistakes. Haven't seen any supply blocks, and there is that 5th gas for MMA, taking it around the 10 minute mark. Spire's about to complete, so we'll see Mutalisk Harass come into play, and Baneling speed. This game could not be more standard for a Terran versus Zerg. 1-1 is complete for both players. +2 is on the way now for MMA. His +2 armor should start up pretty much as soon as he has the gas. And this Viking that he's built, a single Viking to kill Overlords, will clear out his 4th base from creep. 2-2 is on the way for VortiX. And we're just hoping to see MMA starts that +2 armor. You know, sometimes as a Terran player, when you start that +2 and you can't afford both upgrades, you almost just forget about the second one, and you end up way behind on it. But let's see what he can do, as he does have this gas. 2nd factory is on the way. This is a pretty normal timing for a 2nd factory in Terran versus Zerg. If you want to get out Widow Mines, he still actually hasn't produced. Has he made any Widow Mines at all? No. Okay, so he's still on just pure bio. Now he's starting to produce them. But here we go. MMA wants to start to clear out this creep. He realizes that he has a long journey to make, and the problem here is that as long as VortiX defends this position, it's very difficult for MMA to attack him. Combat shield is now done as well. That +2 armor is still not started for MMA. That's a pretty big deal. And with the 2nd factory completing, I'm interested to see if he'll go straight for Thors or if he'll get drilling claws quickly. But picks off maybe 1 or 2 creep tumors. He is playing with fire here. There's a lot building back here. Let's see, we got about 12 Banelings, 5 more on the way. And those Mutalisks would love to catch something out on the side. This Viking still poking the Overlord over here. And the Mutalisks will have no trouble at all killing this. But MMA is building up his forces. He has all the Hellions from the early game saved up with this army. And I think this is still a very capable fleet. He could do a lot of damage here if he gets good spreads. The number 1 issue for VortiX is you do not want to fight the Terran off of creep. You absolutely cannot fight the Terran player off of creep. And we can see he's even burning the Widow Mines off creep. He's trying to bait VortiX over, and, well, he's not willing to step off just yet. MMA, though, would really like to push the creep back. It's still spreading towards the top side. 4 more Banelings on the way. And we have 2-2 about to complete for the Zerg player. MMA's barely got that +2 armor upgrade. He did start it, but it's significantly behind the other upgrades. So those Zerglings with the +2 attack are going to do quite a bit of damage. MMA loads up, wants to assault the 3rd base. Creep spread is being pushed out, and VortiX is potentially ready to go for a fight here. The Marines and Marauders step up. Hellions get a few rounds off. Nothing crazy happening just yet. Does delay some of the creep tumors, but the Marine's taking some damage. MMA needs to watch how much he extends himself. The drop has unloaded at the bottom side. VortiX doing this dance back and forth. MMA scans, kills the creep tumor, stepping back once again from the tower. He still has this drop loaded up. He's going to stim. Running in now. An Overlord for VortiX with some creep tumors. Will be able to spot this infestation pit about to complete. Here he goes towards the third base. There's only a queen here to defend. The whole army clicked over, and at the same time, the Mutalisks, VortiX says, okay, you want to rally all of your forces out here? I'm going to counterattack. I'm going to pick off maybe some of your add-ons, some of your infrastructure, but at the exchange of some creep tumors. MMA still has this drop alive. The Zerglings and Banelings are not able to catch it. This Marine is trying to go toe-to-toe with the queen, but the queen says, not today. And MMA has still held this creep, but he's not been able to put on any real pressure. He hasn't been able to do any damage, and now the Hive Tech is beginning for VortiX, so VortiX can get his 3-3 in just a minute or so's time. MMA has started his +3 attack, but VortiX wants to fight. He's coming off of the creep. The Banelings right behind. The Widowmine's not getting any really good detonations on these Banelings. A Thor shows up to fight the Mutalisks. MMA needs to keep spreading, and this is the power of fighting Zerg off creep. MMA, by staying off of the creep for these fights, takes a huge win as far as the trade goes there, and now he can step up. He can kill more of the creeps and continue to press towards that 4th base. There's no 5th for VortiX. MMA's moving his 4th command center out. He's mixed in Thors. He has Hellbats in production. This is that bio Hellbat Thor style that a lot of Terran players, especially in the Korean scene, have been employing quite heavily in the Terran versus Zerg matchup. So MMA already has a pretty solid start to this game. More mutas are coming out for VortiX, though. Can he do some nice damage with harassment? I don't know, because he has to sit here and defend the whole time. And especially since he lost some of those mutas earlier, having to replace them is the last thing you want to do. Queen gets picked off by the Widowmine, and VortiX would really like to put some pressure onto the extremities of MMA. These Marines, he's got Star Sense coming over to the right side. He's going to catch these, whether or not he realizes it. I think maybe he glimpsed them with the tower. So we'll try to snipe the Medivacs, but not even any luck there. Moving over towards this 3rd base, there's a bunker and a missile turret. 4 Marines inside that can be stemmed. They have stemmed inside the bunker. And VortiX has absolutely nothing going for him here. He cannot find any holes to really poke at. All he got was that missile turret, and the Thor even gets a shot off. Now coming in over the SCV, says, okay, I'll take some maybe Mutalisk damage, but I'll kill off a lot of workers. The bunker's getting attacked. It will be focused down, and the Mutalisks are going to retreat. There's no forces left to catch them. Now VortiX is starting to get some decent trades. That's not too bad for him. The army composition from MMA is still pretty solid. He has +1 vehicle attack to help those Hellbats and the Thors pepper through these a bit more. But now the Ultralisk Cavern is on the way for VortiX, and MMA, he has 8 Marauders in his army. The add-on composition looks like he still has 3 tech labs, so he has the capability to get a reasonable number of Marauders. Not a crazy number, but I don't think he needs too many. There's still a lot of supply in Zerglings and Banelings. As MMA's drop gets picked off in the south, there will be a 5th base started here. So now he has a new big target, and he's actually setting out a pretty sizable force. We'll catch some of these Zerglings out on the map. Not too bad at all for MMA, and these Lings are trying to run, but they're just running into more of MMA's army. VortiX realizes the army is split, though, wants to pick off half. Good Widowmine detonation, picking up 11 kills. The Thor is up front, taking the damage. Medivac pulls it back, and these are still so many Marines coming up. This is more than enough to push this force back. VortiX, though, wanted to free up a little bit of that supply. He still has a reasonable bank. 3 Ultralisks are on the way. Chitinous plating is on the way. 3-3 as well for the Zerg player. He's getting ready to push up. The Banelings are moving. He's starting to spread his army out. He's getting ready to catch MMA's force. He wants to pretty much just completely surround him as he steps towards this 3rd base. But now he's managed to plant a Widowmine or 2. I'd still like to see if he could scan to try to whittle the creep back even more from this position. But Zerglings are going to go for a counterattack, it seems, towards the right side, maybe towards that 3rd, or a backstab. But he's picked off an extractor. He's delaying some of the mining. MMA very smartly keeps the majority of his army behind this little harassment force. He's keeping the majority of his forces off of the creep. And, is VortiX going to try to go for it now? Not just yet. The Zergling counterattack is hitting the space. There's no Marines in this bunker. MMA's 3rd, almost forfeit. Marines will be able to come out from the rallied position. But, oh goodness, MMA, he's really doing a good job of baiting this fight out, and VortiX is going to take it, running into this very well-split Bioforce. The Widowmine's not really doing too much, though. Means MMA's going to lose all of his army to these Banelings. There's still a Thor alive in the back, but the Bio has been mostly destroyed. Still with just enough. Does he actually have enough to stop this army? The Mutalisks unanswered now as the Thor falls say no. MMA will be able to get this hatchery in the bottom right. There's still 1 building in the top left. Does he have enough to defend this position? He's lost a lot of Medivacs too, I believe. Only has 2 on the map. Still 30 Marines, but this is a tough spot to be in. That hatchery was picked off, but so were those Marines. Widowmines get a couple of free shots off on these running by rallied Zerglings. And he actually has not cleaned this up yet. We'll lose a few more Lings. VortiX, does he want to fight here? The Ultralisks, great versus the Marines. The Mutalisks, great versus the Marauders. And, of course, those Banelings, they clean up everything if MMA clumps himself up too much. And he's not even willing to stand out here by his third base. He's not willing to stand by the third. As Zergling's poking this command center, he's like, oh, I got to fly that away. And now the Mutalisks are going to go for it. They're going to pick this base off. I don't think MMA, his army is not in position to save it. He stems some Marines over, but that will open up his third base to assault. He scans the Ultras to see what's going on over here. I don't think he can save this command center. It's going to fall. And now VortiX will know that MMA's army is, he's been able to pull it over completely here. Whoop, take some shots from the Thors. And MMA now has to get back into position. There's still some Marines in the bottom right to prevent a base from being taken here, but now the top left base is mining for VortiX. +3 flyer attacks. I really love this flyer attacks, actually. It's been upgraded by VortiX. So good for helping to pick off these buildings, especially. But now here comes some Zerglings towards the right side. He does have that bunker. Depots are not raised, so MMA has the door open. And these Marines will kill a few drones before an Ultralisk snaps up one of them. Now the Mutalisks to give the last chase. At least he pulled the army back, but here are those Zerglings. MMA actually with a really nice hold position on this mineral line will be able to save that bunker. Marines, oh wow, running right into some damaging units. He actually does not have a full wall to his main base, so VortiX can actually pull this Terran force back quite far. Marines attacking the top left base. Ultralisks, Zerglings, Mutalisks are here to defend it, and he has managed to keep Zerglings outside of his main base. Concussive Shell just now researching. It's a funny upgrade to see this late on the production tab, but can actually slow down the Banelings, I guess, if he gets a few hits off on those. This is a really big army for MMA. He's up 20 in army supply because VortiX has more workers, but can he get the split he needs? VortiX is ready to go for it. He's coming in. The Banelings lead the charge. Widowmines get some fantastic detonations, and the spread from MMA is beautiful. He's destroying this force. Widowmines, bro, no shots fired, but there's not that many Banelings left for VortiX. Those Banelings ate those Widowmine shots. That was brutal. 12 more Banelings are on the way for VortiX, but does he have enough to stop MMA, who's loaded up 2 medevacs? He's going to try to drop this bottom side base again. He has a Widowmine here to check for anything moving in those whereabouts, but VortiX needs to be careful. His bank is about even with MMA's as far as the gas goes. MMA, as long as he can get if he can get another base up, he'll be fine. But VortiX is going to try to catch him out here in the center of the map. He's spreading the bio. Those Baneling detonations are rock solid, and the Ultralisks are still alive. What's left to defend? Just a few Marines and Marauders, but the Marine count, as it gets lower, as there are more Marauders put in this composition, he doesn't have answers to the Mutalisks. Those Marines that were sent out for the drop, maybe he needed those back home, because this force does not look stoppable at this point. MMA's retreating into the Widowmines. Can he get some hits on the Mutalisks? Yes, he can. Those Mutalisks take quite a beating, picking off quite a few of them. But the third base has been lifted. He has another command center on the way. That bunker's so close to dying. He does repair it at the last second. This base still being attacked. He's picked off a lot of the drones. We'll be able to load up a few of the Marines and the Marauders. Widowmine gets a shot as well. 4 kills on that. In MMA, he is quite far behind in this match. I mentioned his gas bank. It's a pretty funny joke. That gas is absolutely useless to MMA in this point in the game. There's nothing the Terran player can make that relies more on gas than minerals. That's good here. He just needs to keep cranking out medevacs. I guess it's the only thing he could really crank out with gas at this point in the game. He needs minerals. He needs to get more Marines out on the map. He's muling quite hard. He's got this 4th base, but oh wow, VortiX pulls his whole army over here for a single drop. This will allow MMA to pick off the 5th base in the top left. I'm not sure he needed to send absolutely everything over there, but that costs him his base, and now MMA can also burrow the Widowmines to block the base for a little bit longer. I still think MMA needs to get out of here because VortiX's army will be able to annihilate this Bioforce, but not bad. Not bad for MMA at all. That's the first real break he's caught in a little while in this game. This Widowmine is still here, but now he can mine the bottom right base. I like that he has a Widowmine on top of each mineral line. That is so annoying. And now the Mutas are here. I guess he knows... Does he realize there's a Widowmine there? I'm not 100% sure. MMA still has a pretty sizable force. Medevac count looks decent. But now it's pretty much pure Marine Marauder with a few Widowmines trickled in. He wants to acquire a 5th base himself. He's sending out a command center to both bases. He sent out a Marine to check one base, and then this command center sees the Zergling. Gets an Overlord in the center of the map. But there's still a lot here. There are so many Ultralisks for VortiX. This is a disgusting number of Ultralisks, and he's coming up with the Banelings. There's no creep, but is he just going to chase right into this? There's a few Widowmines as well, and he's going to walk right into them. The Zerglings bait out the mines, but The Banelings are not able to get all the connections they need. It's just the Ultralisks plowing through, and there's just enough of them, it seems, to bunch this down. There's still 6 in the back. There's so many medevacs, but there's going to be more medevacs than bio soon. MMA forced to retreat towards his natural expansion, is just trying to draw him out. This is almost like a score urge policy for this game. There are the mules in the top left. MMA needs this so desperately, but now the Zergling is here. The Ultralisks are coming up to kill this base, as well as the Mutalisks, and MMA will never be able to recover his economy from this point onward. Now he can try to pick off this base, but at this point in the game, VortiX can just swing between them. He doesn't really care. He's got an economic lead. He's got a fresh base in the bottom right. All he needs to do is keep this base safe, and I don't really see any way that VortiX loses this map. He's played a fantastic macro game so far. The Ultralisks are being chased in the top left. There's not any Banelings to support them. The Marauders are actually going to town. He does need to be careful in that regard, and there is a Widow Mine tucked in here. Actually, it can't detonate. It can't catch a target long enough. These Widow Mines pick off about 12 lings between them all. Ultralisks are going to try to get these Marauders, man. Ultralisks off creep with no support are actually quite horrible. And MMA actually gets a really, really nice... This is Widow Mine. I guess he's just waiting. So one day he'll have his opportunity to do something. Maybe someday. MMA is trying to check that tower, and he's going to land another command center attempting to secure this. They're the Mule Hammer, and this Widow Mine is actually going to move up towards to potentially defend this base. VortiX wants to kill it. All these SCVs are in here with the Banelings as well. The Bio's coming up. He does have a lot of health taken off of these Ultralisks, but the Mutalisks are going to get all of the workers that were trying to Maynard over there. There's not enough Bio, I think, to kill the Ultralisks. The Marauders are caught up front. The Mutalisks chasing those. MMA down below 100 supply. VortiX still at 144, standing strong. He knows that MMA is broke. Immediately goes to the SCVs with those Mutalisks, and MMA... I mean, how many more... what more can you ask for at this point? He needs to kill this bottom right base, or this game is as good as over. He's going to drop a few more mules. He's not giving up just yet. But MMA... Oh, actually catches a few of these Mutalisks. That's not too bad. Not too shabby at all. And he pulls the workers away. Wow, 2 more rallied into them. VortiX, you're in a great position, man, but your Ultralisk count is getting pretty low. Once these Ultras are dead... The Widow Mines in the Bio will be able to deal with this a lot better. And, oh, he's just going to try to attack once again. And those on top of everything, the Banelings get a lot of these Marines. And MMA, is he going to finally die now? He just refuses to quit. But now the Mutas are going to be able to pick off the rest of these workers. This command center, in turn, will also fall. Banelings get the mules and the SCVs. MMA, everything he has is retreating at full speed. Back towards this third, this empty third. There's a base in the top left, saturated with those drones mining quite nicely now. And this command center is as good as dead. MMA is down to half of his opponent's supply. He's moving towards the south tower. There's still a few of these Widow Mines trying to chunk out units. Almost 40 kills between those 2 mines. But now there's the Ultralisks and the Mutas. He can't fight both. The Marines just not enough. Tries to just sort of step back, but he doesn't have enough to actually fight this yet. He's kiting the Ultralisks 1 down. He's trying to get the second one, but there's still Mutalisks on top. Baneling detonates. All the medevacs are gone, and more stims for MMA means his army is slowly but surely collapsing beneath his fires. And he's actually managed to hold this back for now. He's trying to chase the Ultralisks down, but there's still so much more money coming in for VortiX. If you look at the income tab, it's almost 2,000 minerals a minute for VortiX compared to just 600 for MMA. And he is just basically carrying himself on the walking stick that is this 4th base he secured. This is it. This 5th base. How many more command centers does he have for me to keep saying this is it? Because he seems to just be pulling them out of thin air. But if he can't secure this base, I don't think there's any possible way he can win this game anymore. It's the last of his SCVs. He only has 20 workers. They're all headed over here. And this is MMA's final chance to make, I mean, what I could only describe as a miracle happen. This is going to be very difficult. VortiX will make some more Banelings. MMA, he's even building bunkers. He realizes that he needs. Let's cut the crap. He needs this base or he's dead. And I don't think there's any way he's going to be able to hold it. VortiX is coming up with the Ultralisks, fully upgraded. The Zerglings, the Banelings, the Mutalisks, everything pressing in all at once. And he's just going to go right in. Basically a move at this point. There's just not enough units from MMA. GG. VortiX takes game number 1 in this best of 3.